Space may seem empty, but it's actually filled with giant clouds of gas and dust. These clouds are like cosmic kitchens where stars are cooked up, mostly made of hydrogen and helium. These nebulae, as they're called, drift through the vast expanse of space. Gravity plays a crucial role here. Over millions of years, gravity pulls the gas and dust particles together. As the particles get closer, they bump into each other, generating heat. The cloud's core, where most particles gather, becomes increasingly hot and dense. Imagine a snowball rolling down a hill, gathering more snow and growing larger. It's a similar process. This dense, hot core is called a protostar. This process doesn't happen overnight. It takes millions of years for a protostar to gather enough mass and heat. But as gravity continues to pull in more material, the protostar's core gets hotter and denser. Finally, the temperature and pressure at the core reach a critical point, igniting nuclear fusion. This is the moment a star is born. Hydrogen atoms fuse together, creating helium and releasing tremendous energy. This energy radiates outward, creating the brilliant light we see from stars. The newborn star pushes back against the force of gravity, achieving a delicate balance. The star has now entered the main sequence phase of its life.
The transition from a protostar to a main sequence star is a defining moment in a star's life. It is now a full-fledged star, shining brightly and steadily. This stability comes from the balance between gravity and nuclear fusion.
Stars spend about 90% of their lives in this stage. They fuse hydrogen into helium, generating energy. Smaller stars, on the other hand, are like marathon runners. They pace themselves, slowly fusing hydrogen and conserving their fuel. These stars may not be as flashy as their massive counterparts, but their longevity is remarkable. Some small stars, known as red dwarfs, have lifespans that dwarf even the current age of the universe. While size plays a crucial role, it's important to remember that all stars in the main sequence share a common thread. They are all powered by the same fundamental process, nuclear fusion. This process, occurring deep within the core of a star, releases the energy that makes stars shine and provides the light and warmth necessary for life to exist on planets like our own. S4. Imagine a bonfire. A large bonfire burns brightly, consuming its fuel rapidly. A smaller fire, on the other hand, burns for a longer time, slowly using up its fuel. The same principle applies to stars in their main sequence. Massive stars, with their abundant fuel reserves, burn through their hydrogen at a rapid pace, leading to shorter lifespans. These massive stars are like the rock stars of the cosmos, living fast and dying young. Their intense heat and pressure allow them to fuse not just hydrogen, but also heavier elements like helium and carbon. This process releases even more energy, making them shine brilliantly, but also accelerating their demise.
The main sequence, though long, is not the end of the story for a star. Eventually, even the most massive stars will exhaust the hydrogen fuel in their core. When this happens, the outward pressure from nuclear fusion weakens, allowing gravity to gain the upper hand. The core begins to contract, its temperature and pressure rising dramatically. As the core contracts, the outer layers of the star expand outward, cooling and turning red. The star swells to an enormous size, becoming what is known as a red giant. The Sun, when it reaches this stage, will expand to engulf the orbits of Mercury, Venus, and possibly even Earth.
While the expansion of a red giant is dramatic, the core continues to contract and heat up. This increase in temperature and pressure allows the star to fuse helium, the ash left over from hydrogen fusion, into heavier elements like carbon and oxygen. This process releases a new burst of energy, temporarily prolonging the star's life. However, this helium-burning phase is short-lived compared to the main sequence. Eventually, the helium in the core will also be exhausted. The star's fate now hinges on its mass. Smaller stars, like our Sun, will gently shed their outer layers, leaving behind a hot, dense core known as a white dwarf.